Good morning, children! Welcome back to our session of Valenzuela Facebook Live. And I want you to know that I miss you all so much. How are you today? If you're feeling great, kindly hit the heart button. I am feeling great too. And I'm so glad to be with you again. By the way, my name is Teacher RV and I will be your virtual teacher in English for today's lesson. For your attendance, kindly write your name and the name of your school. Example, we have Alea Kate Ashley Otatel from Antonio Serapio Elementary School. I will give you 3 minutes to type your name and the name of your school. And time's up. But for those who were not able to write their name, you can still type your name and the name of your school. Our lesson for today, it is our first lesson for the second quarter. We will talk about the use of modals for giving requests or giving advice or making requests. Let's do it. Let's try. All you need to do is to comment the letter of the correct answer. First sentence. You look worried, Mark. Blank, I help you? Again, you look worried, Mark. Blank, I help you? Is it A, must, B, will, C, can, or D, might? Type your answer. The correct answer is letter C. You look worried, Mark. Can I help you? Again, you look worried, Mark. Can I help you? Second sentence. I left my wallet at home. Blank, you lend me 10 pesos. I left my wallet at home. Blank, you lend me 10 pesos. Is it A, should, B, could, C, might, or D, must? Type your answer. The correct answer is letter B. I left my wallet at home. Could you lend me 10 pesos? I left my wallet at home. Could you lend me 10 pesos? Number 3. You blank not eat fried foods or you will have a high cholesterol. You blank not eat fried foods or you will have a high cholesterol. Is it A, would, B, can, C, must, or D, could? The correct answer is letter C. You must not eat fried foods or you will have a high cholesterol. You must not eat fried foods or you will have a high cholesterol. Next, you blank pass the test or you might not get into that public university. You blank pass the test or you might not get into that public university. Is it A, would, B, can, C, should, or D, could? Choices: A, would, B, can, C, should, or D, could. Type the letter of the correct answer. The correct answer is letter C. You should pass the test or you might not get into that public university. You should pass the test or you might not get into that public university. We still have last one. Okay, blank, you tell me the time. Blank, you tell me the time. Is it A, must, B, might, C, should, or D, could? Blank, you tell me the time. A, must, B, might, C, should, or D, could? The correct answer is letter D. Could you tell me the time? Could you tell me the time? How many got 5? Very good. Hit the heart button if you got perfect score. And for those who did not get perfect score, don't worry because we still have another activity. Okay, all you need to do is to choose the correct word to complete each sentence giving advice or making request. Again, all you need to do is to choose the correct word, okay, to complete each sentence giving advice or making request. Number 1, you blank eat more vegetables and fruits. Is it could or should? Number 2, you blank change your shoes into more comfortable one. Is it would or should? Number 3, you blank not smoke or you might get a lung problem. Is it should or would? Number 4, blank you please answer the phone for me. Blank you please answer the phone for me. Is it will or ought to? Number 5, Blank, you hold my bag and books for me. Blank, you hold my bag and books for me. Is it must or could? Comment down your answers. Ready? Okay. Let us check your answers. Number one, the correct answer is should. You should eat more vegetables and fruits. Number one, you should eat more vegetables and fruits. For number two, you blank change your shoes into more comfortable one. You should change your shoes into more comfortable one. Number three, you blank not smoke or you might get a lung problem. You should not smoke or you might get a lung problem. Number four, blank, you please answer the phone for me. Will you please answer the phone for me? Number five, blank, you hold my bag and books for me. Could you hold my bag and books for me? How many got perfect scores? How about four, three, two, and one? Let us know. You can comment your scores. Very good. Very good, children. Okay, the following words that we had a while ago are what we called modals or modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries are helping verbs used with a principal verb and they indicate the mood of the verb. When we say mood, it refers to the form of the verb telling the speaker with regard to what he or she is saying as either a fact, a possibility, a desire, or a command. Modal words like might, may, can, could, will, would, must, and should are helping verbs that add shades of meaning or flavor to the verbs that follow them. This additional meaning may connote possibility, ability, and permission among others. I have here pictures. In the first picture, we'll see there a teacher and a student. You usually say this, and a lot of my students are asking for permission during our class when we still have our face-to-face class. Most of the time, I would hear, "Ma'am, may I go out?" Are you the same too? Okay, is that your favorite word too? "Ma'am, may I go out?" And this boy here is asking for permission from his teacher. And he said, "May I get a drink of water?" So another alibi, "May I get a drink of water?" Okay. And second sentence is, we have here a very delicious cake. Color pink cake, probably strawberry cake. So I would bake a cake for my birthday. I would bake a cake for my birthday. In the first sentence, we have there modal may, and we use it in asking a question. And I would like to clarify, children, that when using modals, we do not add S at the end. So there's no word like, "Ma'am, may I go out?" It should not be, okay? Modals will remain like that, like may, might, can, could. We don't have to add S, okay? And modal can be used in a statement form, just like, "I would bake a cake for my birthday." And notice the word bake right after the modal. In a statement form, the modal is followed by main verb or base form of the verb. Okay, so we have would as our modal, and we have bake as our base form of the verb. What about the modals for making requests? What are we going to use? We have two kinds. First, request of general nature. For example, will you help me clean your room? Would you help me clean our room? Can you cook our lunch? Could you cook our lunch? And for second, if we are making specific requests, may I go to the comfort room? Can I borrow your pencil? Could I borrow your pencil? For modals for giving advice, we have the following. We have the following purposes. Number one, if we want to give a suggestion. Number two, if we want to give an advice. Number three, if we wanted to state an obligation. Number four, if we're giving a negative advice. Whenever making a suggestion, we can use of the modals could and might. And if we want to give advice to our friends, we can use the modals should or ought to. For obligation, when we say obligation, it means there is a strong feeling that you need to do it, or there is an urgency that you need to take an action. We have to use must or have or has to. And for negative advice, we will just add the negative word not at the end of the word or the modal should. So it will be should not, ought not, and must not. We have here the following examples. For suggestion, you could ask her to join our team. You could ask her to join our team. Or, you might say thank you often. You might say thank you often. For giving an advice, Lisa should read the story tonight. Lisa should read the story tonight. Brian ought to clean his room. Brian ought to clean his room. For stating an obligation, I must change my study habits this 2021. I must change my study habits. And she has to take care of her sister to school. She has to take her sister to school. For negative advice, we have, you shouldn't disregard your parents' advice. You shouldn't or should not disregard your parents' advice. Lito ought not to leave the door open. Lito ought not to leave the door open. And lastly, we have, he must not go to the mall alone. He must not go to the mall alone. Let us try. Write the function of each underlined modal as the giving advice or making a request. Number one, Marty should come home by 9 p.m. to make her parents happy. Number two, could I leave the office early? Number three, you shouldn't drive too fast or you might get into accident. Number four, would you mind closing the door and turning the lights off? And number five, I would study mathematics tonight if I were you. Again, number one, Marty should come home by 9 p.m. to make her parents happy. Number two, could I leave the office early? Number three, you shouldn't drive too fast or you might get into accident. Number four, would you mind closing the door and turning the lights off? Number five, I would study mathematics tonight if I were you. I am going to give you 3 minutes for you to come up with the correct answer. Timer starts now. Time's up. Time for us to check your answers. Number 1, giving advice. Number 2, making requests. Number 3, giving advice. Number 4, making requests. Number 5, giving advice. Again, number 1, giving advice. Number 2, making requests. Number 3, giving advice. Number 4, making requests. And number 5, giving advice. Please count the number of the correct answers and comment down below your scores. Very good. Our lesson for today is very easy. That's why many of you got perfect score. Okay, children, it's time for our question and answer portion. Okay? So, whatever the questions you have in mind regarding our lesson, now it's time for you to type it. And I will be choosing 3 questions for today. Okay? I will give you 3 minutes to type your questions about our lesson for today. And timer starts now. And I got your questions. First question came from Silvestre Lazaro Elementary School. Ma'am, when are we going to use can versus could? Or may versus might? Or maybe Same thing, can or could, may or might. Like, what is the difference between the two? Okay, we're going to use it depending on the time, okay? Models referring to present and future time, that's, we're going to use can, may, shall, or will. But if we're referring to past time, okay, we can use could, might, would. Same thing with will and would. Would and should. Okay? And second question, is it true that could is more polite expression than can? Yes. Can is a bit informal, and this one could sounds like more polite. Okay? But you can use either could or can. And then three, we have why modal is also called as modal auxiliary. Okay? So an auxiliary verb, just like what I told you a while ago, it provides an additional and specific meaning, right, to the main verb. And the help of our modals here is modal verb are also referred to as auxiliary because they serve as helping verb. Okay? They help other words in the sentence. And another bonus question, I think from Ryan J or RJ, if I'm not mistaken, he is asking when do we know if that person is seeking for advice or giving advice and for asking request. Okay? Of course, if you're asking for a request, you are asking for somebody to do you a favor. And if you're giving advice, you are just like commanding somebody to do it, okay, for his or her own good. Okay? I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Don't worry, I am going to be with you again next week for our second lesson. So I won't miss you that much. Okay? Thank you so much, children, for joining me today. Please keep safe, everyone, and I'll see you again next week. Always remember, anuman ang sitwasyon, tuloy ang edukasyon. Thank you and God bless.